transform with the humble soybean. Getting a head start on the Head Start program. Learning even younger will take a closer look. And we'll also see how college professors are using the internet to catch students who cheat. Plagiarism.org.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. They used to say, as goes General Motors, so goes the nation. Today, as goes IBM, so goes the market. It was a rough one on Wall Street, down more than 200 points for much of the day. When it was over, the Dow Jones Industrial Average had dropped 94 points to close at 10,297. IBM was off 21 points after the computer giant warned that its earnings would be lower than expected for several quarters to come. It seems that the business of fixing computers for the year 2000 is drying up, and companies and consumers are waiting for the millennium to pass before they spend any more money on technology. Here's ABC's Betsy Stark.
It was a nasty jolt for investors today who had dismissed Y2K as much ado about nothing. Shares of IBM plunged almost 20% on unexpected news that the drop-off in Y2K spending is having a big impact on Big Blue.
They told us 90 days ago there's not a problem. Now it looks like the problem's going to last for 9 months.
The problem is businesses that paid IBM and other technology companies tens of billions of dollars last year to make sure their computer systems were ready for the year 2000 have now stopped spending, at least until sometime next year.
Many corporations say that they bought their computers, they've switched their software, it's Y2K compliant, and they just don't want to touch that installation. They don't want to risk something going wrong after they've worked so hard to make sure that everything's going to work.
IBM is the most prominent casualty of the technology spending freeze, but others are suffering as well. On Monday, shares of Lexmark International, a computer printing company, dropped 30%. Purchases of new printers have been postponed until after the millennium. Shares of Computer Horizons, which installs business software, have fallen more than 75%. Last year, the company had its best year ever. What worries Wall Street now is how many other companies who think their businesses are fine will find their earnings decimated by the drop-off in Y2K spending. If a company as big as IBM could underestimate the risk, others could also be fooled. Betsy Stark, ABC News, New York.
While much of the market found the going rough today, the food industry is looking at very bright prospects. The FDA is now letting companies advertise a connection between soy protein and a healthy heart, and it is sure to mean healthy profits. Here's ABC's Bill Rediker.
Soy has been available for more than 2 decades in health food stores, specialty markets, and restaurants that serve heart-healthy meals. But now it is poised to become the food of the next millennium, available soon in nearly everything, everywhere.
I see the soy protein business tripling over the next 2 years because of this announcement.
Today, the $1 billion a year soybean business is dominated by companies that produce soy burgers, soy milk, and tofu. But the future is in new products like soy pizza, soy peanut butter, even soy breakfast cereal. Kellogg Company has just test marketed a new soy cereal, Smart Start.
We know from consumers that they love the taste, and they really like the fact that it brings them protein in the form of soy that gives them the health benefit.
Okay, so soy is good for you. But experience has shown that unless healthy food tastes good, it fails in the marketplace. And many consumers consider the taste of soy, in this case tofu, bland or at best, bean-like. At Boca Burger in Chicago, they won't say how they've made their soy burgers taste like meat, but they are convincing enough to be featured in school cafeterias and fast food restaurants.
They taste great, and they're easy to use, and I think that consumers will give them a shot.
And why not? The FDA says 25 grams of soy a day, that's about 2 soy burgers, may lower your cholesterol and reduce the risk of heart disease.
I get a lot of energy from this food. I feel strong, I feel good. I know I'm feeding my body all the nutrients that it needs.
That's called the joy of soy, soon to replace fiber and oat bran as the latest in food. Bill Rediker, ABC News, New York.
On the money today, despite all of the excitement about the stock market, a new study says that most American investors still do it the old-fashioned way, waiting patiently for their stocks and bonds to grow. Two groups representing the nation's investment companies say that 55% of American stockholders didn't buy or sell a single share of stock in 1998. In Washington today, for the first time in 16 years, the Senate has voted on the merits of the Supreme Court decision that legalized abortion. It was non-binding, the Senate vote that is, but the Senate did support Roe versus Wade. The vote was 51 to 48. Pretty good snapshot of how intense and how close the call would be on Capitol Hill. The Justice Department has sued the Columbus, Ohio Police Department. The allegation that there has been a pattern of civil rights abuses, including false arrests and the use of excessive force. The Justice Department is trying to force Columbus to adopt a 5-year program of improved training and supervision for its 1,700 officers. When we come back, a fire breaks out and a political wall comes down, at least temporarily. And beating the school cheaters, technology on the cutting edge.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, brought to you by Chevy Trucks.
Now there's a Chevy Venture with flip and fold seats and a built-in entertainment system.
I knew I should have taken a left turn at Albuquerque.
Fun things are bound to happen when Chevy and Warner Brothers get together. Introducing the new Warner Brothers edition from Chevy Venture, the most versatile minivan ever. One quick call can help you learn more.
Let's go!
Can a sunset make you happy? A child's laugh? A warm breeze? No, not without emotional well-being inside. Now to help support the emotional wellness needed to enjoy life, there's Sammy from Nature Made. This natural supplement used around the world is now here for you. Nature Made Sam E, because happiness comes from the inside.
These days, everybody wants whiter teeth.
Including me, and I wear dentures.
New Polident Whitening Mouthwash not only freshens your breath, it whitens dentures in just 2 weeks. New Polident Whitening Mouthwash.
It's giving denture wearers a lot to smile about.
Overseas today, and it is practically impossible to get cameras there, more than 100 people are reported to have been killed and 400 wounded after several explosions in the Chechen capital Grozny. People on the scene say that rockets hit a crowded marketplace and a hospital. The Russian army is advancing on Grozny. Tonight, the Russian military denied that it had fired the rockets. The former Israeli prime minister's had a rough day. The Israeli police questioned Benjamin Netanyahu and his wife for 8 hours today after seizing dozens of valuables from the couple's home. Mr. Netanyahu is suspected of keeping official gifts. There was a terrible fire today on the West Bank town of Hebron in a Palestinian factory that made cigarette lighters and operated without a license. The event caught our attention because Hebron has always been synonymous with Israeli-Palestinian animosity. And today, it was not so. Here's ABC's Gillian Finlay.
It only took a spark, and within minutes, the entire building was in flames. An illegal factory, gallons of lighter fluid, and no emergency exit. As the families of those trapped inside looked on, this girl came looking for her sister. Hebron's local fire brigade struggled with the blaze, but it soon became clear that the Palestinians with their outdated equipment needed help. They called the Israelis. Within 10 minutes, 2 trucks from a nearby Jewish settlement were on the scene. They were followed by Israeli medics and ambulance teams. For 3 hours this morning, Palestinians and Israelis worked side by side in a desperate attempt to save lives. There are no borders in this kind of work, the Israeli fire chief said. Today, our hearts are crying because of those girls inside. Hebron is the last place you'd expect to find such cooperation. Tension here between Israelis and Palestinians is always high. But that, said the head of the Palestinian Fire Department, is politics. Today, we threw politics behind us. In the end, though, the cooperation was not enough. This afternoon, they pulled 16 bodies from the wreckage of the factory. There were no survivors. Julian Finley, ABC News, Jerusalem.
When we come back, a breakthrough teaching babies. We'll take a closer look.
I went on chemo at the time my oldest daughter was getting married. We had planned everything, the fabric, the design, the whole gown. But when it was time to sew the dress, the chemo, it makes you weak. My whole life I've made clothes for other people, but for my own daughter's wedding, I was too tired to make the dress.
Are you a chemotherapy patient? Ask your doctor about Procrit. Procrit is a natural way to regain red blood cells lost during chemotherapy, and more red blood cells can mean more strength. Procrit is safe and effective. In studies, only diarrhea and edema occurred more often with Procrit than placebo. Procrit is for patients with non-myeloid cancers. Call now and learn how Procrit can help you get back the strength you need. Your strength for living.
In life, you take the bitter with the sweet, but I plan to end up with more sweet.
Hey, man, how come every time I call you, you're on the phone? Who are you talking to?
My friends, family. I call them a lot since I don't get to see them that much.
Phone bills must be killing you.
Not at all. I dial 10-10-321. It's only 8 cents a minute for calls over 10 minutes. That's 50% off.
And when you're talking with family and friends, you just know you're going to be on for a while.
Sounds good. My wife's on the phone all the time with her sister. Hey, man, am I ever going to get to shoot?
Not when you're playing against me.
Stop assuming that just because you're hugging one of these, you can't have a car that was made for hugging these. Alero, with the road-hugging active response system. Start feeling connected. Alero, I also feel. Start something.
There's been a lot of discussion in the last several years about when parents and other caregivers can begin to have a meaningful effect on a child's development. It's a personal issue for many parents, but it affects everyone because so many children born to poor families with little education end up dropping out of school and often getting into trouble. The Head Start program, which the federal government pays for, has a great deal of support, but nearly all of the 800,000 children in Head Start are 3 and 4 years old, which actually may be too late. So let's take a closer look. There's a study published today by a group called the ABC Darien Project in North Carolina, which has found dramatic potential in working with children as young as 6 weeks old. Here's ABC's Tom Foreman.
What color is Spark Shot?
Red. The study was launched in the early 1970s with a question. Could children from poor families with little education be taught from infancy how to succeed in school?
Well, we hope we'd find positive benefits.
Frank Ramey, the creator of the study, said the answer his team found is far more than what they expected.
It's possible to fundamentally alter the life course of high-risk children if we bring to bear good early childhood education, good family support, and good health care.
Using videos like this one, Ramey trained daycare workers to stimulate learning in at-risk children. The instruction started when the children were 4 months old, much earlier than most other programs, and continued until they were 5.
Talk in simple language. Say something like, those are blocks. You have some blocks, too.
These introductions to language, math, and reading were reinforced daily by daycare workers and parents, and supplemented by good nutrition. By grade school, the test children were earning higher grades than their peers. They were less likely to be held back or put into special ed. And in other programs which started when children were older, the improvement wore off. Not with this one.
We followed them up when they were 12. It hadn't disappeared. We followed them up when they were 15. It hadn't disappeared.
When researchers began this project, they hoped only to help these children be better prepared for grade school. They had no idea that the benefits would last into adulthood. But the test children now in their 20s are less likely to have dropped out or have had babies, more likely to be in college or a skilled job.
It's as if the early boost that they got never really goes away.
The researchers are convinced If policymakers will spend money on early education, many children who wind up out of school, unemployed, in trouble, can be saved, can succeed. Tom Foreman, ABC News, Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Learning younger all the time. We're also going to take a closer look tonight at a scandalous situation in Philadelphia, and we are fairly confident that it happens elsewhere as well. If Americans really believe what they tell us in the polls, that education is the #1 priority, and if politicians make that speech all the time, how could this be? Here's ABC's Michelle Norris.
Imagine a world where Gerald Ford is still president, where the Berlin Wall still divides East and West Germany, and where man has yet to walk on the moon. That's the world children see when they visit most public school libraries in Philadelphia.
This is a dead zone, and this is a place where children should not be going. They should not be reading these books.
Books that are on average almost 30 years old, tattered pages filled with outdated images, and in some cases, harmful stereotypes.
It more or less makes slavery sound as if it were summer camp.
One book declares that Nelson Mandela died 22 years ago when he was executed by hanging. For the record, Mandela is still very much alive. The principal of this school decided to close his library altogether.
These books on these shelves belong in a dump. They do not belong on shelves in a school.
Philadelphia schools spend less on library materials than almost any other city, only $5.50 per student last year.
And faced with a shrinking property tax base, the district has never made library funding a top priority, instead choosing to spend more on other programs.
Rich people don't have to choose between books and kindergarten. Why are you forcing poor school systems to do that?
There is no help from the federal government, which stopped funding school libraries in 1976. The congressman from this district said that should change.
I think it's in our federal government's interest to make sure that these young people have access to decent reading material that's contemporary.
Studies show that students who attend schools with strong libraries have stronger scores on national reading tests. Bad news for the children at T.M. Pierce, a school with no library at all. Michelle Norris, ABC News, Philadelphia.
In a moment, college kids.
A lot of people have allergies. I have multi-symptom nasal allergies. It's the sneezing, itchy, runny nose, the nasal congestion. It's all of it. I told my doctor, I've had it. I want an allergy medicine made for my kind of allergies. He prescribed multi-symptom Flonase.
Flonase nasal spray once a day relieves all nasal allergy symptoms all day and night.
All it takes is Flonase.
The #1 prescribed nasal allergy spray. Even kids as young as 4 can use Flonase. For best results, use daily. If side effects occur, they are generally mild and may include headache, nosebleed, or sore throat. Call to learn more. Ask your doctor about multi-symptom Flonase.
When you get it all it takes is Flonase.
Our latest innovation springs from a very old idea, that heat cleans better. And so, Bissell introduces the first and only upright deep cleaner with an onboard heater. A common sense idea to make cleaning even cleaner. The new Power Steamer Pro Heat Plus from Bissell. Life's messy. Clean it up.
Right now at LensCrafters, you can get a complete pair of great-looking glasses for only $99 in your choice of hundreds of the latest styles.
The LensCrafters $99 complete pair sale.
Only $99. You can't afford to miss an offer like this.
Hurry, offer ends soon.
Natural, real, a whole new way to lose the gray. Quick, hassle-free, a look that really looks like me.
What do more vets feed their own pets? Hill's Science Diet. With real meat as the #1 ingredient, Savory Recipes provides the highest quality protein. Superior nutrition for the life of your pet. Science Diet. What vets feed their pets.
Next time, call a Roto-Rooter plumber. When we make an appointment, we keep it.
In Washington today, the Senate Armed Services Committee heard testimony from 3 senior U.S. commanders about the conduct of the NATO war against Yugoslavia. And the senators got a heavy dose of opinion from one man in particular. Here's our national security correspondent, John McWethy.
Congress had the luxury today of hearing from a general who ran the day-to-day air war over Kosovo and who spoke with the bluntness of a man who is now retiring and has nothing to lose.
Sir, I'd have gone for the head of the snake on the first night. I'd have turned the lights out the first night. Milosevic and his cronies would have waked up the first morning asking what the hell was going on.
But NATO did not strike downtown Belgrade with any regularity for more than a month. General Short seemed to stun his fellow officers by openly blaming the French, whom he said flew only 8% of the missions, but repeatedly vetoed attempts to hit key targets, which ended up putting pilots at risk.
A nation that's providing less than 8% of the sortie contribution to an effort.
France being the 8%.
Yes, sir. Should not be in a position of restricting American aviators who are bearing 70% of the load.
Short then seemed to criticize his boss, Wes Clark, who was sitting next to him, and politicians in Washington for not leaning harder on the French and other reluctant allies.
At my level, it wasn't clear that we had applied the maximum leverage.
Colleagues of General Short, who say they agree with many of his complaints, point out that at his level, he never had to consider how difficult it is to get 19 NATO countries to agree to anything. John McWethy, ABC News, the Pentagon.
Thursday, time to check in with Science Watch. Dinosaur jawbones found in Madagascar. They may be the oldest ever found. They come from 2 dinosaurs about the size of calves, more than 227 million years old. And they will likely be named for the boys who discovered the bones in a dried-out riverbed. A 140,000-year-old virus has been found lying dormant a mile down in the Greenland ice pack. It's a common plant virus, but scientists are concerned that if this virus could survive so long, others, including dangerous viruses, might last even longer and be exposed as the ice caps melt. New satellite images show today that last year's mild La Nina conditions will likely return to the American West, which probably means a stormy, wet winter for the Pacific Northwest and a dry winter for the Southwest. When we come back, college cheating on the cutting edge, and a cutting-edge way to catch it.
About free computers, but we haven't actually seen one. Not one with a monitor, 24-hour tech support, loads of software, and a printer, like a Gateway Essential PC with an Intel Celeron processor. Call us. For $30 a month, it's a PC you can believe in.
All right, kid. Here we go. 10-9. What do you got? What do you got? Yeah. All right, come on, come on.
What would you do if someone you loved had a heart attack? Did you know it's now been proven that the same Bayer aspirin you have in your bag for muscle aches may actually help stop you from dying if you take it during a heart attack?
Downtown. Lucky shot.
Can your pain reliever do that? Talk to your doctor now.
Next time I'll go easier on you.
Bayer. Powerful pain relief and so much more.
For 98 years, GMC has designed trucks for people who drove them not because they were trendy, but because their lives depended on them. Heroes who measured a truck by its power and its determination. That heritage lives in the Yukon Denali, a luxury SUV with a 255 horsepower V8. It meets the demands of professionals and the standards of history. The Yukon Denali by GMC.
A moment caught in time. The story you never knew. What really happened that night from the people who were there. 2020 Downtown tonight.
Coming up next on Channel 2 News, some bad news for smokers. You'll hear about a new law Multnomah County is working on. Plus, an online auction site lists slaves for sale. We'll have the story. I'm Steve Dunn. Local news is coming up next.
Finally from us this evening, cheering for the professor. We may be accused of piety or not understanding the world as it really is, but we have never understood the casual approach that some college students have about cheating on papers and exams, by which we mean taking other people's work and passing it on as their own. And so we were very interested to learn that even the most overworked professor has a way of finding out. ABC's Judy Muller tonight from California.
As almost any college student can tell you, there are dozens of websites which make plagiarizing term papers easier than ever before. Websites like Evil House of Cheat.
You can get papers from all over, from other universities, that perhaps the professors at the local institution might not recognize.
Just download, cut, and paste.
Download, cut, and paste. Put your name on it and you're done.
According to records in Berkeley's Office of Student Conduct, cheating at that university has more than doubled in the last 5 years. But that may change.
The way we like to look at it is the internet helped to create this problem, so the internet should be used to help eliminate this problem.
This former Berkeley grad student has leveled the playing field with plagiarism.org. This website is for the professors. If their student's work has been lifted from a cheat site, this program's databank can spot it. In fact, plagiarism.org will ferret out any material taken from any site on the internet, whether the source is Julia Child or Albert Einstein.
We get right down to the 8-word level. So if they've taken as much as 8 words and we log on to it, then we'll underline it and identify it in our report.
Each passage taken from the internet is underlined, each in a different color, with the source identified in a corresponding color. When Berkeley instructor David Presti submitted papers from 320 of his neurobiology students, he caught an astonishing 45 who had improperly used internet material.
You see, again, the highlighted areas are verbatim copied from websites.
This whole paper has been copied.
The entire paper is copied from a set of websites.
Berkeley now uses plagiarism.org to investigate all cheating accusations.
You confront them with the truth, and there's no lying. There's no trying to talk their way out of it.
Does plagiarism.org mean an end to the sites that provide the papers? The creator of one such site, a millionaire now living in Israel, doesn't seem a bit worried.
They are proof that what we're doing is having an impact. I can't wait till there's 10 more companies like theirs.
And in fact, 2 other anti-cheating programs are already on the market, and hundreds of professors across the country are expressing an interest in the idea. Judy Muller, ABC News, Los Angeles.
So there, that's our broadcast on World News Tonight. Tomorrow we're going to do a rather unusual broadcast to mark the 30th anniversary of the Internet. The Internet is that old and is changing our lives minute by minute. We'll see what the net effects are in commerce and education and war. We'll try to look into the future, which is likely to be full of surprises, and see what it means not to be part of the revolution. You can watch the broadcast as usual, or you can log on right into the newsroom through abcnews.com. There's even a chat room. We hope you'll join us. I'm Peter Jennings. Until tomorrow, good night.
Tomorrow from ABC News, on Good Morning America, his views on homosexuality are stirring controversy. Jerry Falwell, strong opinions, but are they the majority? And on World News Tonight, the Internet 30 years later. How have our lives forever been changed? The net effects of the Internet revolution. A special World News Tonight tomorrow. This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings than from any other nightly news.
This is KATU, the power of 2000. Now, Channel 2 News.
It's a habit that